Hello, and welcome back to another edition of All or Nada, according to Jack, with your host, Jack Toledano. As you can see, I have a very special guest today, a very good friend of mine, Mr. Pete Pardo. Uh, Pete, not to change the subject or anything, today we're going to talk about concerts remembered, uh, a concert journal, but we actually have an anniversary of our own coming up in about 6 months. Our 40 years of our friendship. We might have to have an episode of that.
Can
So,
you believe it? It's like it's crazy.
yeah,
I knew that was coming up because I just celebrated my 40th high school reunion recently, and I know I met you about 6 months after that. So yeah,
right. Yep.
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Okay. So,
We're getting old, man. What
I
happened?
know.
How did that happen?
Too old to rock and roll, too young to die.
True, true, true.
So in any event, and people know the story by now that I actually bought this journal at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's empty at the moment, but I want to fill it up eventually. But I also want to use it as the basis of episodes of me talking about concerts that I've been to, and I've been to a lot over the years. And today I want to talk about concerts that I've been to with Mr. Pete Pardo, and particularly concerts that we saw together at Bethel Woods. So before I share my Excel spreadsheet and show everybody the set lists, do you want to talk about them at all, Pete?
Well, I mean, I could talk about Bethel in general, right? Which I think because some people may not know that name, but Bethel Woods, it's called Bethel Woods Center. Bethel Woods Center for the Arts is located in Bethel, New York, which is basically the site of the original Woodstock Festival in 1969. So even though Woodstock was called Woodstock, there is a town called Woodstock, which is about, I don't know, maybe 25 or 30 miles.
It's near Kingston, actually.
It's just past Kingston, so it's kind of like I guess that's like northeast from where the festival actually was. It was originally scheduled to be in Woodstock, New York, but they had to move it at the last minute because of all sorts of legal things and whatnot. So they had already announced that the festival was going to be called Woodstock, so they moved it to Bethel, New York, which is right near White Lake. It should have been called Bethel, right? But they called it Woodstock because they kept the name. So then Woodstock is the legendary name of the festival, but it's in Bethel, New York. So what they did a number of years ago, I don't know, 25 years ago or something like that, they uh, reopened the site as a concert venue once again, and they have added to it and done all sorts of great things there, and have had summer concerts there, spring, summer, fall concerts there ever since. It's a gorgeous place. Jack's been there a number of times, and
Yep.
it's probably my favorite venue to go to because it's just so lovely there. They have a museum there, so if you're into the whole nostalgia and history of the Woodstock
Beautiful.
Festival and this area when it comes to music, they've got a great museum there that has all sorts of cool stuff there. They do indoor shows. They have a little indoor venue, I think, which holds maybe, I don't know, like 200 people or something. They'll do smaller acts there during like the winter and the late fall. So you can still go up there and see shows, but it's just a breathtaking place. It's up on like up on a hill overlooking a valley. They have the amphitheater, which with the cover, and then the lawn. And I think, if memory serves correctly, I think like a capacity, it holds somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 18,000 people at capacity, which is a good amount. So I was just there the other night. I saw Deep Purple and Yes there the other night, which was really great. It was a gorgeous night. It was a little chilly, but it was really nice. And that was the first time I've been there in like 2 years.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah.
But before we signed on to this episode, Pete was telling me a little bit about that concert the other night. So how did Mr. Gillen sound?
He sounded really good. He sounded the best I've heard him probably in the last three times I've seen them, because I've seen them a lot in recent years. But I think, Jack, the reason being, I mean, Ian's like 60, 79 years old, right? His voice isn't what it used to be. But I think, and more importantly, they're playing on this tour a set list that is full of deep cuts and a lot of newer material. So he has a hard time struggling singing stuff like Highway Star and the more screamy stuff from the old days because he just can't do it anymore.
Right.
But since, I mean, they played Anya from Battle Rages On, which was great. They did 4 tracks off the new album. They did one song, The Uncommon Man, from one of the more recent Steve Morse
Yeah,
albums.
I know. I think it was the first Bob Ezrin album.
Yeah, it was that exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah,
now what? Yep. Which is cool, and that was a nice tribute to John Lord. That was the reason behind that
yeah,
song to begin with.
right.
And they did some jams and stuff. Plus they did a handful of the classics. They did obviously Space Truck and Smoke on the Water, Hush, Black Knight, Highway Star, and Lazy. But everything else was more deeper stuff. They Into the Fire and Hard Loving Man from
Nice.
Rock, which
I
is
love Hard Loving Man. That's
Oh, it's
actually a
great.
pretty
And
good
and
tune.
and he was sounding great on Into the Fire. The funny thing is, Jack, I think the song for me that he struggles the most on out of all those older tracks is Highway Star.
Interesting.
Because when he does, I love her, I need it. You could see he's like,
Yeah,
need it,
yeah.
dear.
I
And
believe.
it just sounds weird, but he handles the rest of the stuff pretty good. But they did win a Blind Man prize too, which was
Oh, okay.
was
I know
really
that was
he
a hidden
sounded
track. Yeah,
great on that. He sounded really, really good on that.
awesome.
So
And
overall, he sounded amazing. Like I said, best I've seen him in years. But to me, the highlight of the night was Simon McBride, their new guitar player.
yeah,
Guy is a monster
he
player.
is a great player. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
good.
it's
He
hard to
really fit.
replace Blackmore and Steve Morse, but this guy, he's got the chops. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and I'm a huge Steve Morse fan. I mean, nobody's a bigger Morse fan than me. But now that I've seen them with Simon and of course the new album, he I think is a better fit for the band because he
Good.
brings he brings a little of that bluesiness and that like kind of like reckless, kind of dangerous element that Blackmore always had. He's got it. He's got it. He really fits really, really well. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
great choice. So it was good. It was a good
Okay.
time. Good time.
How about Yes?
Yes, we're pretty good. I have the same issues with Yes that I've had for the last couple of times I've seen them. To me, they sound a little tired. They play the same songs all the time, and it's just like, I don't know. It just seems like Yes in slow motion. And they got Billy Sherwood on bass, who's a fine bass player, and he's a pretty good singer. But they don't let him, like, classic Yes had Chris Squire doing all those backing vocals. Billy's a really good singer too, and he should be doing more of the backing vocals. Instead, you got Steve Howe up there doing a lot of the backing vocals. Steve can't sing.
Right.
But Steve's playing was fine. The crowds drive me crazy. Not to derail our conversation, but it's like, these people who go to see these legacy bands now, all they want to do is hear the radio hits. So like it's like boggles my mind. They
Yeah.
they played like Going for the One. They played Siberian Khatru. I'm like, oh, cool. And I'm looking around and they have this look on their face like I don't know what this song is. And until they play Roundabout or Seen All Good People, they don't come alive. And I got the impression like half the audience is waiting to hear Owner of a Lonely Heart. I'm like, well, they're not gonna play that anymore, right? Because
Yeah.
Steve wasn't on that album. He's has no
Yeah.
interest in that. So,
You
but I
know,
mean, they were
people
fine. They were better
people
than the
have to
last one.
understand that it gets monotonous playing the same songs over and over, the same hits. And I can imagine a band that having to play Smoke on the Water every night. Yeah, or
Problem is, Jack, with audiences here in the States, I think that the majority of people that go to see these older bands live, all they want to hear is the hits. They don't have any patience for the
I
deep
know.
cuts or stuff or new material. They just don't. I mean, I saw it during the Purple set. See, for me, the longtime fan, the Purple set was great because it was all these deep cuts and newer things. But
Uh-huh.
halfway through their set, they started off with Highway Star, and then they played all this deeper stuff and newer stuff, and they didn't play the rest of the hits till later in the set. I could see people getting up and leaving already because they're probably like, I don't know any of these songs. I'm going to go. Meanwhile, knowing that they're going to play Smoke on the Water, they're going to play Space
Right.
Train, they're going to play Hush, they're going to play Black Knight. You just got to wait around for it. But people, they just don't, it's late, it was chilly out. And yeah, it's just, unless you hit them with the greatest hit set every time, that you lose their attention. I don't get it because for
Right.
that, you can sit home and listen to your greatest hits album and not spend the money to go out, because to me, Purple
Exactly.
set was amazing because I want to hear the deep cuts. I want to hear the new stuff live.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm with you 100%.
I've
Yeah.
seen them play the greatest hits set a million times. I don't I
Yeah.
don't do that anymore, but that's
Right.
unfortunately the bulk of the people who go to concerts nowadays. That's all they want. It's sad, but it's the reality.
Okay. So, as I told Pete before we signed on, I'm going to share, but I want people to see your face, so I'm not going to share for too long. And I didn't do a PowerPoint. I just did a spreadsheet because I am Mr. Spreadsheet at work. So
Right. That's right.
yes, but you're gonna like this because of the fact that it's got all the set lists from shows that we saw at Bethel Woods. So we're gonna start with July 25th, 2013. We saw the Eagles together, and
That was 2013. Jesus.
2013, can you believe it? And
Yeah.
also Pete mentioned Bethel Woods. My son used to work at a Boy Scout camp right near White Lake called Camp Kiowa, where he worked his way up from like the lowest on the totem pole counselor up to program director.
Wow.
So he actually had a cabin that I was able to stay there for a few days to not only to go see the Eagles, but then to go see Leonard Skynyrd and Bad Company.
That's
But
right.
Eagles, and I give Pete full props for this because the Eagles are not a cheap band to see. They
No.
are very expensive, and Pete and his wife Evelyn got us these great lawn seats for like $55, which was insane.
At the time, that was very expensive for lawn tickets because I think now, like I think for Purple, the lawn seats were like $40 plus the $5 charge
Right.
or whatever, so $45. But 11 years ago, 55 and up, or whatever it was, that was expensive for lawn tickets because I think lawn tickets back then were like 25, $30.
But if you want to go see him at Madison Square Garden, you're
Oh,
going to pay
forget it.
$200-300 even
Oh,
then.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I'm just going to gloss over the set list very quick. So in the first set, Bernie Ledden rejoined the band. So Saturday night, train leaves here this morning, which Ledden sang. Peaceful, easy feeling, witchy woman. I'm just gonna, you know what? Again, I don't want to monopolize this whole episode by talking about the set list, so please take a quick look and rewind and watch later. But the second set is there's a lot more Joe Walsh and Timothy B. Schmidt songs within. I can't tell you why. Love will keep us alive. Bunk 49. I think we were walking out into the parking lot as they were singing Desperado.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because if I remember correctly, there was a shit ton of people there that night.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah.
I have learned from experience that when you go to see a show at Bethel, because the road to get out of there is like 2 lanes, and the road to get back to the highway is 2 lanes, and it's like an 8 mile stretch. So if you've got like 15,000 people in this place and you wait till after the show is done, you're not getting out of there anytime soon. So I generally speaking, when the encore starts, I'm out of there. So
Right.
yeah, we were walking out right around that time.
Okay.
It was a
Very
good show
good.
though. It was a good show. I had never seen him
Yes.
before. That was my one
No,
of my
not
time.
nor have I. And later I'm going to talk about having seen Don Felder at my local park right here in Long Island for free, basically.
Wow.
And you want to know something? I think it's probably as good a show as they're doing now with half a band. But talk,
I'm sure the set list for him is probably pretty good. He probably
oh,
focuses on a lot of the rockers.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a great player. He's a great
Yeah.
player.
Okay, so 2 nights later, Leonard Skynyrd and Bad Company. Now, I did not sit with Pete because Pete had seats underneath the awning, whereas I think I sat with Kirk and Kristen, I believe. They were also at that show. So I
Yeah.
hung with them, but you want to know something? And I watched the crowd that night. I think I mean, first of all, what an amazing crowd response to Leonard Skinner that night. And I just feel like after they left the stage after Freebird, all the air got like you could pop a balloon. It's like all the air got sucked out of the place and it was like very little to no reaction to Bad Company, which I thought was a shame because I love them too.
I will say, because I've seen Skinner up there a few times since that show, and they played there real recently. I didn't go. Skinner has a real connection to people in the Hudson Valley for whatever
Oh,
whatever reason, and that's why they keep booking them at Bethel Woods. And I saw Steve Keeler the other night. He was telling me that the Skinner ZZ Top Outlaw show up at Bethel Woods, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. He said it was absolutely mobbed. He said it
Wow.
was filled to capacity. And so
Wow.
just think about that. So this is 11 years later. There's
Mhm.
no original members left in Skynyrd anymore, and they're still going out and packing places like Bethel Woods, drawing like 15,000 plus people. That's
Well, when
crazy,
I mean, look at the set list. This is basically a greatest hit set list.
Yeah,
Oh,
they play the same. They play the same set year in and year out. That's just what they
wow.
do. And yeah, it's
But
but people love these songs so much that that's just what they want to go hear. And yeah, they put on a great show. I mean, I agree with you. This night, Skinner blew Bad Company. Bad Company were fine. And
yeah,
Paul Rogers was amazing, but Skinner blew them away that night.
yeah, it was a shame because, and again, so a couple years later, I saw Bad Company at Jones Beach and they were with Joe Walsh that night, but I think they were received so much better when I saw them at Jones Beach because they didn't have Leonard Skinner in front of them.
Yeah,
And Skynyrd has a very good following here on Long Island as well, but
yeah.
maybe not as good as the Hudson Valley, but
I don't know what it is, man. This is like Skinner Nation up here. I don't know why.
yeah.
It's kind of strange, but hey, whatever.
I will say, Freebird, the only time prior to this that I had seen Freebird played on stage was when I saw the Rossington Collins band play it without a lead vocalist. They had Dale Krantz as their vocalist, but on that night they just did it as an instrumental, just out of respect to Ronnie Van Zant. But
That's pretty cool.
let me tell you, when they were going through that jam at the end, my chills were going up and down my spine. It was so freaking incredible to see that unfold in front of your eyes.
Oh yeah,
Coolest thing. But Bad Company had a great set. I mean, look what they played.
played everything.
Rock and Roll Fantasy, Run with the Pack, which I love. Feel Like Making Love, Burning Sky, Ready for Love, Shooting Star. You get the gist.
Yeah, all their mandatory tracks they played all.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really good, but they just they don't do much. There's not much of a stage show. Meanwhile, with Skinner, you got Ricky Medlock running all over the place,
Yeah.
and Johnny's always talking to the audience, right? So
Yep.
it's
And Ricky Medlock's such a great player. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay. I wish they would have given him one or two songs by Blackfoot, but
yeah. Well,
whatever. So so then a few years later, ironically, one of my nieces came to stay at my house on Long Island because she got to see Garth Brooks at Yankee Stadium. And on that very same night, I was up at Bethel Woods with Pete seeing Steve Winwood and Steely Dan, which I thought was the coolest thing. Now, comparing their voices, I thought Steve Winwood's voice was a little bit better
oh yeah, yeah.
than Donald Fagen's.
Yep.
And, he had a short but very good set. I love the fact that he pulled songs from all his eras. Can't Find My Way Home from Blind Faith, Pearly Queen and Low Spark of High Heeled Boys, which are fantastic. Dear Mr. Fantasy, but great job by Steve Winwood.
Yeah, it was a good mix of Blind Faith, Traffic, and his solo stuff, which I think was
Oh
fun.
yeah.
He sounded great. He still sings great, and I think because a whole bunch of us went to that. And I remember like Chris Canzaneri and I looked at each other. We were like, "Holy crap, he's playing some damn spicy guitar this evening, right?" Which
Yeah,
was
yeah.
cool.
But I thought vocally he sounded great. I had
Yeah,
never seen him before, but
yeah, I hadn't either.
and again, this is 2016. So then the running joke, I don't know if you remember this little exchange between us. So we're hanging out in the parking lot having a few beers. I had to run to one of the porta potties, and on my way there, somebody's playing Black Cow on their in their out of their car stereo. And I come back and I'm like, wow, wouldn't it be cool if they played that tonight? And I think you said it was like, they're never gonna play that. Song number two. Do 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 do. I'm like, yes.
Now,
But
Do you remember what happened in the parking lot before the show started that night?
no,
Remember that storm hit? Remember?
oh yeah,
I
yes,
saw Steve Keeler up at Bethel the other day, and we were talking about it. Because I had the tent and I had the barbecue going, and we all had to like huddle under the tent because it
oh
was like
yeah, yes.
downpour and thunder and lightning for like an hour, and we
And,
made
and I'm scared to death that they're gonna cancel the show because only time I ever saw a concert at Jones Beach with Sue, Journey Heart and Cheap Trick. That show also almost got canceled due to a threatening nor'easter
Yeah.
or storm.
Yeah,
Terrible.
they went out over the loudspeakers. They told everybody to get back to their cars because some people had gone in already. They sent everybody out
Yeah,
and told everybody to go back to their cars until the storm subsided. So I think it delayed the show by like a half hour, 45 minutes, something like
right.
that. So yeah.
But thank God they got on with it, and they had a great crew. They got them on and off the stage, same as with the Jones Beach show, and we were really rewarded with a great set. I mean, look what Steely Dan played.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, Bodhisattva, Kid Charlemagne, Babylon Sisters, Asia, Pretzel Logic, uh, Daddy Don't Live in that New York City No More.
Yeah.
I think Walter Becker actually sang a song. I don't remember what, but yeah, but
Yeah, we're lucky to see them then because he passed away just a couple of years after that. So
yeah.
now Fagan just goes out on as just him and the band as Steely Dan. So it was good to see them with the two of them, because
But the thing that I remember is that, like I said, vocally, I think Winwood was a little bit better, but
yeah.
I still love Donald Fagen. But also, whoever he had as his drummer, I thought was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name,
I
but
forget his name too, but
yeah,
he had played with him on and off with them on and off for a number of years. He was really good. Yeah, he's it's on the tip of my tongue. Hopefully I'll remember. But yeah, he's very, very good.
hmm. Okay. So, any other comments about any of these three shows?
No, they were all really good.
Yeah.
Three good ones out of many I've seen up at that place. Always I don't think I've ever seen a bad show up there, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, they got some good ones. I can't believe my own Judas Priest got up there a couple of years ago.
I know.
Never would have expected that. They were
Yeah,
with
that was good
Big Deep
too.
Purple at that time.
Yep.
I think where was I going? Oh, I think Sue and I were heading to Las Vegas. That's why I missed it. Yeah,
Yeah, that was a memorable one. I
yeah,
think too, if I don't know if you're a Santana fan at all, but they play up there pretty regularly, and it's always great seeing
yeah.
Santana.
I like Santana, but I mean, I don't go gaga, but I do
Yeah.
like Santana. I would see them with other bands, so yeah.
Yeah. It's always cool seeing them at Bethel because they played the original Woodstock, so it's kind of like a coming home for them. It's always a big deal. So
Okay, so before I stop sharing, I got a couple other things to show everybody, and this was from the Eagles show. This is Pete and I and our good buddy Grant Kickert, who passed away from. We lost him to cancer about a year ago. So sad. I was in Ireland when I heard about it, and I think I just dropped my phone. Just dropped. I just yeah. But so good that we got to experience that with Grant. And I was his wife there, Jenny.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of us at this show. We had a whole bunch of us were hanging out at this thing. Yeah.
Right. So there was that memory. Uh, so here's another picture with me about 50 pounds ago. I'm now below 200, knock on wood, which is wonderful. But more importantly, basically what I did was I took a list of, I figured we would just focus on the Bethel Woods shows for today, but these are some other notable shows that Pete and I have seen together. So I'm just going to go through them really quick. I don't know if you remember them, Pete. So there's Deep Purple and Girls School. I think that was the first one we ever saw.
Yep. Yep.
Meadowlands, New Jersey, the famous show where they did not play Smoke on the Water.
Yeah. That was Perfect Strangers tour. That was the
Yep.
only time I got to see them with Blackmore.
Now, the only time I saw Judas Priest, and I've seen them 10 times, the only time I've seen them with Pete was on this show,
Yep.
was with Megadeth and Testament that in my bailiwick, Nassau
Yep.
Coliseum.
Painkiller tour. Yep.
Yep. Great show. There was a whole bunch of us there. I think Wild Bill, Steve Fleck, Big Steve, I think.
Yep.
Anybody else?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
Kirk might have been there. I don't
yeah,
remember.
maybe. Deep Purple with Winger at Radio City. That
Oh,
was
that's right. So I've seen Purple with Blackmore twice. I keep
yeah,
forgetting that I saw that
right.
Slaves and Masters tour. I totally forgot about that.
That was a special show because they had, not that they had Joel Turner, but they played Burn that night, which
Yeah,
was
they did.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Pete actually came down for a couple more shows down in my area, Jethro Tull at Jones Beach in
Yep.
the mid to late 90s. That was the Roots to Branches tour. Then Deep Purple with Emerson, Lake and Palmer. That was really a nice show. That
Yeah.
was 98.
And Dream Theater too. Dream Theater was on that bill also.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. Yep. Yes, you're right about that. So that's three times we saw Dream Theater together. Because
Yep.
so we would see them at Roseland Ballroom. That was the first time I believe I ever met Grant, and I'll never forget how here I am, a stranger to him, and he's buying beers for everybody all night. I'm like, wow. I just met this guy, but I love him already. What a generous, nice guy.
Oof, we drank a lot that night.
Yes, we did.
That
Yep.
was the scenes from a memory tour. The first stop at Roseland on that tour because they came back later in the tour and that's where they filmed the DVD. And I didn't go to that one, but we all went to that first one. Yeah, that was
Right.
a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one, we actually saw, I think, our only MSG show together, Iron Maiden, Queensryche, and Halford.
Yep, yep,
Now, what's notable about that is that Judas Priest had been banned from Madison Square Garden back in the 80s because of stupid fans ripping out seats and shit like that. But Halford was back and it was very cool, but always a pleasure to see Iron Maiden. They were doing what tour? A Brave New World tour, I believe that was.
yep,
Yes.
yep. It was their big
Yep.
comeback with Bruce.
Yep. That was the first of about three times I had seen Queensryche. Uh, then we saw Dream Theater at Beacon Theater. There were two shows, but that show was where they played the entire Master of Puppets album in
Yep,
its entirety.
yep,
Uh, then we saw Ian Anderson at Beacon Theater. That was the Thick as a Brick tour,
yep.
where he covered both Thick as a Brick albums, which was fantastic.
Mhm.
Uh, we saw Blue Oyster Cult together about a month later at what's now called the Palladium, where I will probably be going to see KK's Priest with Accept again next week. We also saw Primal Fear, I think, in 2014. And
Yeah,
then,
what was the name of that place?
yeah, that's on the west side. I can't think of the
I
name.
it was the only time I had ever been there, whatever it
Yeah,
was called. Yeah.
actually, I saw two shows there. I saw that and I saw Udo there once. And I ran into Steve Keeler at that show, but I can't think of the name escapes me at the moment.
Yeah.
But
I don't even know if it's a venue that's still active because I
yeah. But then I don't know. And then just this morning, I thought of this. Did we see Accept and Creator together? Oh,
uh yes, it was also at the Palladium or Best Buy
yes.
Theater, whatever. Yeah.
Right. Yep. Yep. Okay. So yeah, that's a lot of freaking shows. So,
And
okay.
then there's the more recent ones, right? Because didn't you came out for Winery Dogs
Oh, yes. 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 You're right. You got me there. Winery Dogs. Oh, and KK's Priest
and
in,
KK's Priest also at Starland Ballroom, man.
yep. All right. Oh, wow. So yeah, that's cool. Damn, that's a lot of shows, man.
Yeah, yeah.
But all right. So wow, we covered a lot of ground in half an hour. So anything else you want to talk about?
40 years worth of concerts, right? That's
Yeah, well, yeah, yes, yeah. I think we had only known each other for about a year when we went and saw Deep Purple, and Deep Purple was like the premise for our first musical conversation, if I remember correctly. Because
it absolutely was. I was in my room playing, if I remember correctly, I think I
uh,
was playing Made in
live
Japan.
in Made in Japan, yeah,
And then you came down with my roommate and
John
he introduced
Phillips,
you
yeah.
said, "Oh, this is Jack. He just moved in. He just started." Um, and I was like, and you walked in, you're like, "Oh, I love Deep Purple. Pleased to meet you." And that was that.
Start of a beautiful friendship.
Because at the time, if you remember, I was living down in the basement of the
Yes,
and you were
Bethel,
living up in the first floor, and
right.
I I think I moved into the suite where you were living like within a month or something like that. Cause
Right.
we made, because we had that flexibility. I don't know if they can, if kids can do that anymore now, if they can like mid semester can make a change to move to a different room or a different suite. I don't know. But back then,
Possibly, yeah.
yeah, and I don't even remember the reason why I requested to move, but it's like whatever, you know. So I
Didn't you
think,
have a single
well,
downstairs?
I had a single because my roommate never came back for the semester. He,
Oh,
decided to drop out of school, so I had a single, and I think they wanted me to pay for the full
uh,
room, and my parents were like, "No, we're not doing that." And you guys said you had an opening up
yeah,
by you, so I went up there. So
right,
I
right.
think I,
Because one of John's roommate, I don't remember his name, but he was I don't know if he was academically dismissed or was disciplinary dismissal. One of the
maybe that was it because maybe John had the opening. John was in the same boat as me, and I just because I already knew John from living in from the year before. I was already friends with John, so I think we both had the same situation. So we just consolidated, and I went and moved in with him. So then we were
right.
all together. So yeah,
Well, all I can say is thank God you moved in, so we got to know each other better, and the rest is, as they say, history. But
yeah, it was a fun year, right? So
yeah, oh yeah, we
before
had a
we all moved
blast.
off campus and whatnot. But yeah,
What's
that was
that?
fun. I said before we all moved off campus,
Yep.
that was a year.
Well, even moving off campus, we still had a lot of fun because we still hung out at times, and we still had parties in either my place or Pete's place, and yeah.
Now wait, now you never lived in Southside, right?
No, Sue and I got that apartment just south of no, what's that? Shango Hall. We were like just outside of Shango Hall. Yeah,
That's right, I
off
remember. But
campus. Yeah,
so you did that first, like you didn't get your own place first. You guys moved in together right off the bat,
right.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
And did you stay in the dorm longer than I did? I think you did. Maybe
I
that's
think, yeah, possibly for an extra semester. I think I
okay.
did. Yeah, right,
Gotcha. Okay.
right. So that was that. So what do you got going on your channel right now?
Oh, just the normal stuff. We've got well, actually, as Jack and I are taping this, ranking the albums of Gamma Ray is happening as we speak. So for those who are watching this, it's already happened. Go on to Sea and Tranquility and watch
Oh,
Rich
cool.
Catino and I rank the albums of the great Gamma Ray. Of course, all these cool albums from Kai Hansen, formerly of Halloween. Very cool band for those who like the '90s power metal stuff like Stradivarius and Blind Guardian and Halloween and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, yeah. But then the normal stuff, we got in the prog seat this week. Next week is Hudson Valley Squares and the normal stuff. So
Okay,
always
very
busy.
cool. All right. So, as I mentioned in my last episode, Sue basically had me do a cleanup on this computer and buy another external drive. And my old external drive, I was going through it because I wanted to have all my concert footage together. And I found a block of old concert footage that I had taken, even going back to like 2007, 2008. I even have two concert songs of Keith Emerson at in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, that I'm going to share at some point.
Wow.
If you remember Near Fest, yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow.
So I'm going to be sharing these videos in time. Maybe one or two a week, but I have a real wealth of concert videos. So stay tuned, everybody. It's going to be fun.
Awesome. Cool. I
Yeah.
wish I had stuff from Near Fest days. Holy cow. That's
I
that.
think that's the only one I have, but it's so good because sadly Keith took his life, and but this is when he was still relevant and sounded great. Couple songs that he did from his Emerson Lake and Palmer days. So maybe I'll share that in another week or two. We'll see. But
Cool. Cool.
but
Sounds
also,
good.
so I think everybody knows the story by now. I was thinking of a name for the series, and I saw this book while I was online at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I bought it. And I don't know if you know this or not, Pete, but the publisher actually reached out to me to thank me for showing this book on my episode.
Ah, how cool is that?
Yeah, I mean, here you have what, close to 100,000 subscribers. I have under 1,000. I'm like, how the hell did they find me? But
Yeah, it's
he
almost like
did.
how did he find you? It's almost like he's searching every day for people talking about his book, right?
It's possible, yeah. But it was, and and they were very nice about it. They're like, thank you for showing us, and glad you enjoyed the rock hall.
If you could just flip through it real quick, just so I can see what it
Oh
looks
yeah, absolutely, sure.
like. That's kind of. I'm wondering if that's something. And then how many concerts can that hold? Like if you were to document everything, is there a number,
Uh,
or how many pages are there?
it goes up to 115. Yeah,
Huh.
100. Yeah. So yeah, that's like oh, I see.
And how many entries per page does it fit?
Oh, it's like one entry for every 2 pages. Oh no. Oh wow, no, it's like one entry for every 4 pages. So if you divide that, so that's about, well, I don't know, 30 concerts, but
Oh,
but
geez, I would need like 10 of those books.
yeah. Well, honestly, this gives me another idea. What I want to do is I want to do my own book of all my concerts, and
Well, that you can do because you could literally just start a spreadsheet or something or some kind of doc and just put it all together and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's
But
definitely.
that's good. At least you could use that as a reference point to how to
Oh
organize
yeah,
it, right? So
yep,
yeah,
yep. But still, I want to do it my way, so there's no copyright, you know. But and I'm going to try to use all my pictures where possible. But
sure, sure.
in time, I may ask you to dig into your picture archive, but nothing in the near future, so don't worry.
I'm not great with saving my own old pics. I have them. I have an old drive that probably has a whole shit ton of stuff on there that I could probably
Right.
go through, but
But also there's
organize it.
Facebook. I can't tell you how much stuff I found on Facebook over
Oh
the
yeah, I do have a lot on there. Yeah, that's probably where a good chunk of everything is.
right. But in any event, so unless you have anything else, I'm gonna bid us a good day so that Pete can go do what he needs to do, and my wife can get back to work, and I can go enjoy my Sunday. And
Dude, stop working on Sundays. Come on.
yeah, well, my only stress this afternoon is how those football Giants are going to do. We'll see. Fingers crossed.
I'm hoping to close my pool today, so it's
Oh, okay. I'll probably do that next week. But
yeah, it's done.
hey, how about those Mets? 9 in a row.
9 in a row. Got to keep it going. Keep it
Yep.
going. We got a tough schedule up ahead, so but
Yeah.
we're in a good position right now. So the destiny is in their own hands.
Yes, it is.
They,
But
they play well against the teams that are above them.
yeah,
This could be a very fun final 2.5 weeks of the season.
yeah. I mean, it's been a good ride. So
Yeah, it has.
keep it going. Keep it going, Metsies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us expected this year. So
No.
if they make it, amazing. If they don't quite make it, it's been a fun. It wasn't fun in the beginning, but it's been a fun last couple
Yeah.
of months.
I mean,
So
who knew that their pitchers would do so great?
yeah, well,
Yeah.
sometimes that works when you spend a little bit of money on pitchers that are questionable, right? That's
But these guys have been, they're saying that they've had the best ERA in the National League since the beginning of June, which
yeah,
blows my mind. And,
yeah,
and Lindor has been great since, I don't know, mid-May, early June.
yep, yep.
But finally,
Just
finally,
imagine if only Mr. Alonso would wake up because he's really the only one that hasn't really clicked all season. So
never going to happen. And,
yeah.
and Knucklehead, I thought he was going to injure himself when he broke his bat over his knee the other day.
My wife saw that as we were watching it. She goes, "Do people like when players do that?" I'm like, "It's probably not. It's probably frowned upon, but he
Yeah.
has always done that. He's just kind of when he's frustrated, he just takes it out on the bat. But yeah,
Yep.
never mind the fact you could break your kneecap, right?
Yeah, right.
But
Well, in
come on,
any
Pete.
event, so everybody, thank you for watching. Pete, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Jack. Appreciate it.
I know you have a very tight schedule, so I'm so glad we were able to work this out. So be well, and we will talk soon.
Sounds
And
good. Thanks, everybody.
yes, and everybody, thank you for joining, and we will speak very soon. Bye.